All right, welcome everyone to Coffee and Conversation, our biggest food service rebates yet. We're so glad you can join us. Before we begin, we have a couple of housekeeping items. All attendees are muted. Please use the chat to say hello and where you're joining us from. Enter all questions in the Q&A field. Panelists will respond to questions at the end of the program. Closed captions are available. Interpretation is available in Spanish, Korean, Vietnamese, and Mandarin. This event is being recorded, and the recording link and resources will be shared in an email after the event. As we shared, this event offers interpretation in Spanish, Korean, Vietnamese, and Mandarin. And before we get started, we'd like to launch this poll just to see how many of you plan to use our interpretation features today. I'll just give a few moments for everyone to respond. Thank you very much, and over to Jess to get us started.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Puget Sound Energy. We'll be starting off our agenda today with some team introductions. And then for those of you who have never been to a PSE meeting before, one of our traditions is to do a safety moment at the beginning of every meeting. So we'll be doing a brief safety moment, and then we'll jump into our presentation, and we'll be showing you all of the ins and outs on our commercial food service rebates program. And then we did have some of you who submitted questions, and we will be covering all of those questions that were submitted beforehand as part of the presentation. And then at the end, we'll have more time for Q&A. And my name is Jessica Fryer. I'm the marketing program manager. And then we also have Hunter Hassig, who is our outreach manager, and he will be presenting today.
All right, thanks, Jessica. Appreciate the introduction. As Jessica mentioned, I serve on our customer outreach team here at Puget Sound Energy in the northern part of PSE's 10-county service territory in Whatcom County and Whidbey Island, that's part of Island County. Stepping in today to present in place of our program manager, Tiana Bartis, who is going to be helping us out with the Q&A. So we have that expert help today. And thanks everyone for coming. I'm going to start with a safety moment today. We take safety really seriously at PSE. And for the start of every meeting, we want to talk about it. And on the left here, this is a pretty intense picture, and it's actually a true story of a friend that was doing some finishing, putting a staining on some wood in an outbuilding. And when he was done, he had some oil-soaked rags that he placed in a pile on a sheet of cardboard in that outbuilding, and he went to sleep. Unfortunately, he woke up to this scenario, which was both the outbuilding and his trailer. You can see it kind of in the background around this fir tree up in flames. Luckily, nobody got hurt, but about $30,000 worth of damage that was not covered by insurance. So what happens with these oils when there's the rags are soaked with them is they need to off gas. And if you put them on top of each other in a pile, they're suffocated. They cannot off gas, and they will raise in temperature until they ignite without any other form of ignition. This is really important to have proper disposal of those oily rags. Never leave them in a pile. At the end of the day, you want to take those rags outside to dry. You can hang them outside, or if it's windy, spread them out on the ground and weigh them down. You don't want them to blow away. You want them to stay away from buildings or anything that they could put ablaze. So you could also put them in a container with a water and detergent solution that would help break down the oils. Just want to make sure that you keep that lid tight. Also keep out of direct sunlight or any other form of heat. We don't want to intensify that normal reaction of the oils, increasing that temperature. So really important to have proper disposal of oily rags. If you see someone that is doing a staining, just remind them. Really, this is something that a lot of people don't know. So help your friends, help your family, avoid huge catastrophic damages. Follow proper disposal of oily rags. All right, if we would go to next slide, we're going to start with the poll. And I'm wondering, before today, had you heard, how had you heard about PSE's food service rebate program? Did you hear about it through email or newsletter, through an equipment dealer, maybe through social media or word of mouth, an online search? Maybe you hadn't heard of it, or maybe some other reason. Let us know in the poll. And once these results come up, I will share them live. Give it a little longer for some folks to respond. Thanks for your responses. And let's see those results here in a couple moments. Okay, great. Looks like the vast majority of people learned about the event through email, newsletter, invite. That's awesome that you're reading our emails. We try to make those as applicable as possible. Okay, thanks for your responses. Just a little bit about what we're going to learn about today. We're going to start with talking about energy efficiency. What is it? We're going to talk a little bit about energy use in the commercial kitchen, rebates, return on investment, and real long-term savings. We will discuss equipment types, dealers, and instant rebates that you can get through those dealers, as well as some additional resources that you can access if you have questions after the presentation. If you don't remember anything I say, it's great. It's all on the website. So we'll show you how to access that. So moving over to what is energy efficiency? What does that mean to us? Energy use, that's the electricity or natural gas you use to run your business, to power your restaurant. For some, this is on your day-to-day radar. For some, it's only a thought at the end of the month when you have to pay your bill. Those bills are sometimes pretty big for restaurants. If you have a lot of food that's moving through your restaurant, if you're a brewery or doing distillation, it is definitely bigger than your bill at home. So why so much, and where is that coming from? We're going to talk about that a little bit. Did you know that major appliances can account for nearly 75% of a typical restaurant's energy expenses? And then on top of that, you have to consider your water and sewer costs. That's a huge amount. Maybe I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but just recognizing that we understand that that's a big cost that you need to bear. So moving on to one other poll before we dig in here. Where do you think most energy is used in a typical restaurant? If you would give us your thoughts. Is it lighting, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, or HVAC? Is it food prep, refrigeration, maybe sanitation, dishwashing? Let us know. And then we'll do the big reveal of what the average is for the Pacific Northwest. And thanks for your comments. All right, a couple more responses are coming in. Give it another second. And why don't you show those answers, if you would, Mike? Okay, looks like the vast majority of people are saying refrigeration. Interesting. Okay. We're going to have some information about that later in our presentation. Also, second place is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Okay, great. Well, let's talk about that. Let's go next slide. So looking at an average restaurant, right? There's a lot of different restaurants and commercial food service types in our area, but for an average energy usage in a full service restaurant, food preparation is actually the largest, followed by HVAC. In a close third is sanitation, followed by lighting, and then refrigeration is actually on the lowest part of the scale, but still a big contributor at 6%. So moving on to energy powerhouses. So talking about the lion's share of energy use in restaurants, right? When we look at how we prioritize energy savings, we want to look at where that biggest piece of the pie is. And what we found is that that's food prep and the major appliances that do that. These pieces of equipment are powerhouses. They're running your businesses, they're keeping people fed and happy, and they're using a lot of energy to do that. The very nature of this industry is heavily reliant on energy intensive equipment. So, what can you do about that? It's not really an option to cook less, obviously, or turn the temperature down. Can't change the menu. I don't want you to do that. That's not a possibility. So with all these fixed costs, you might think that your utility bill is one of those, but we're here to tell you it's not. There's options to reduce that. Where can you look to help reduce that energy that you must use in order to do what you do? Well, one of the things you can do is to make a change in the area of how you make a change in how you choose which equipment you choose. Excuse me. We're talking about the big silver boxes in your kitchen, your fryers, your steamers, convection ovens, dishwashers, and for the first time in 2023, refrigeration has been added. So just some options. You could choose a standard piece of equipment, or you can buy one that does what you need and uses less energy. That's high efficiency. That's energy efficiency. Doing the same work or more work with less. How do they do that? It has to do with how the equipment is built, how it runs, including preheat, time, idle rate, insulation, and other things like that. Really, the technology can sometimes feel like magic, but there's a lot of features that are built in by the manufacturers to make this work for you. These also produce less heat, improving comfortability in the kitchen, which may save you on labor costs if folks are not comfortable back in the kitchen. We really want to look at that as an additional benefit to energy efficient equipment. Also saves you on your heating and cooling costs, and many of those machines also utilize water, which can if you're more efficient on that, can also save you on your water bills. So what happens after you upgrade? You actually see the energy usage drop on your bill, which less energy used multiplied by the rate equals a lower bill. So we're going to go into some common terms here quickly. If you go next slide, thanks. So energy efficiency, right? That's using less energy to still do the things you need to do, how you need to do them. A standard efficiency is just a normal piece of equipment. High efficiency is equipment that uses less energy to run than a standard efficiency version. And then energy savings is the difference between those two. So let's build on that a little bit, talking about just breaking down how it all works and how it can benefit you and your business's bottom line. Kind of going through a business case here of why you should consider energy efficient equipment for your high efficiency for your next fryer or griddle or whatever you need to upgrade. So how soon do you plan to purchase new equipment? Whether that's to replace something in your operation or to add something new. Just going to do a quick poll. Are you looking to replace equipment as soon as possible? Next 3 months, maybe the next 6? You looking more than a year, or are you kind of still deciding? How good is the incentive to maybe make you consider upgrading? If you would respond to that poll, we'll share the results. Excuse me. We'll give a couple more moments here for folks to share their responses. Thanks for sharing. Seeing some results come in. All right. Mike, if we would share those results, please. Wow, it's kind of all across the board here. We're seeing the largest answer is still deciding, followed by really a combination of all the other amounts. Well, great. Thanks for sharing your responses. All right, so talking about costs, you're thinking about buying new equipment, replacing equipment, spending money. High efficiency equipment, no doubt about it, it tends to be more expensive than standard efficiency. So PSE provides an upfront rebate to help cover the cost of that more expensive energy saving equipment. We're not just telling you to spend more money because it's better for the environment, although it is, or because you're going to reduce your utility bill, although that will also happen. We're actually going to help you afford that by offering a rebate to decrease that price difference between the more expensive equipment, the high efficiency, and the standard efficiency. So how does that work? Let's go next slide here. So this is how it works for your bottom line. We start with the rebate, which is just the start. That's going to help you buy the equipment. Then we move to your utility bill. Because that equipment is energy efficient, it now costs less to run every month than the standard non-energy efficient alternative. That means you save energy, actual money each month on your utility bill. So looking at return on investment, a lot of people like to think, okay, well, with the energy savings that I'm garnering each month, how long will it take me to make up the extra amount that I spent for that piece of energy efficient equipment, right? And that can be pretty quick in a lot of cases. Many pieces of food service equipment have surprisingly quick return on investments or payback periods, which is essentially recouping those out-of-pocket costs. Looking at real long-term savings, that's profit for your business. After you've recouped your out-of-pocket costs for the equipment, all of those monthly energy savings on your utility bill, that goes straight to your bottom line. So that's something we really want to hit home here, is that long-term, we're talking about improving profit margins with energy efficient equipment for your commercial food service operation. You're no longer spending that money on your utility bill and you paid off your equipment. So now it's just earned money in your pocket. And that's for the lifetime of that equipment. So that can be many, many years. Let's look at a fictitious example of one of my favorites, which would be a local burger restaurant. We're going to call the owner of this burger restaurant Bob. Bob's needed to replace a fryer, and they decided that they wanted to purchase one that is high efficiency, one that saves them energy. So Bob's looked at a 35-pound model like a Vulcan, Royal, or a Tosa branded fryer, which cost $1,800 at the dealer. And they actually got an instant rebate at that dealer of $1,500. So that means their invoice shows $1,500 deducted off of their purchase price for only $300 out of pocket. So now, based on the average energy usage of a natural gas fryer over the estimated average lifetime of a gas fryer, that's $6,000 in financial savings from purchasing that higher efficiency option. That's a huge amount. And since they only paid $300 out of pocket for that fryer. Again, you don't have to mail in a rebate here. You don't have to wait. You don't have to submit paperwork. You don't have to wonder when your rebate check is coming. That payback period is less than 9 months. So very quick payback period. Just want to highlight for it's a common piece of equipment like a fryer, just what a great deal these rebates are, and how easy they can make them to choose high efficiency. So ultimately, Bob's profit on the fryer, less the amount he paid for that, was $5,700 on the equipment. Put in other words, if Bob's had chosen the standard efficiency fryer, it would have cost them nearly $6,000 more just to run that fryer in their business. And that's assuming it could even last as long as the higher quality, high efficiency fryer. It really makes you think about not just what the rebate can do for you when you're making your equipment decisions, but what that long-term energy savings looks like for your business. So just going to get into how exactly you can take advantage of these rebates, what to look for, where you can go, how to get that super easy instant discount that we talked about. So if we could go next slide. So really easy. We work to make this as easy as possible. We understand that waiting for a rebate, filling out paperwork is not the way that you want to spend your time. And it's very busy time in restaurants and small businesses. So we've worked to limit that amount of time you have to spend on this as much as possible. We're also going to talk about what types of equipment other than a fryer can get a rebate. And if you would go to the next slide, this is not a poll, just a question, which if you would just put your top choices from the list below in the chat, want to know, where do you usually buy your food service equipment? Is it from Bar Green Ellison, DSL Northwest, maybe Dick's Restaurant Supply? Let us know, or if it's not listed here, just put it in the chat, please. And thanks for everyone's responses. Looks like Bar Green Ellison, some people buying from Costco, business and online. Okay. Dick's Restaurant Supply, it's a big one. Anybody else buy from any of these distributors listed here? Well, thanks for folks that responded so far. And feel free to keep responding in the chat. I am going to move on to the next slide here. Thanks, Mike. So who qualifies for this rebate program we've been talking about? This is Washington State, obviously, for those that live here, the beautiful Puget Sound. And we have color-coded Puget Sound Energy service territory all the way down in the south to Centralia, the east to Kittitas County, the west in Kitsap, and all the way up to the northern border with our Canadian neighbors. And just a question, do you know who provides your natural gas? Do you know who provides your electricity? You might not. We understand you have a ton of bills to pay, and this might not be, the first thing that you're thinking about. So we created this map. If we look purple, if you're in a purple area, you have Puget Sound Energy natural gas. If you're in a tan area, you have PSE electricity. And if you're in orange, you have both of those fuels provided by PSE. If you are unsure, because this map is a bit general, maybe you live in Black Diamond or one of these cities that's on a border of this map, feel free to call one of our energy advisors weekdays 8 to 5, 1-800-562-1482 is how they can be contacted, and they'll look up your address and they can tell you who supplies your your fuel for your restaurant. Which utility? Because that's critical to who qualifies for these rebates. So how does this work with the rebate program? Both PSC electric and natural gas customers qualify. But qualifying equipment is specific to the equipment being purchased. So the equipment getting the rebate must use fuel provided by PSC. So gas equipment must use PSC natural gas, right? So if the gas is provided by Cascade Natural Gas, or perhaps it's powered by propane from a private propane company, that is not something that we as a utility can offer a rebate on, although you may be able to find a rebate from your gas provider. So that's purple or orange areas. If you have PSC electricity, but not PSC gas, we can't provide a gas rebate from us. Again, you would need to contact your natural gas provider. If electric equipment must use PSC electricity, so that's tan or orange, we can't offer rebates on electric equipment in Seattle City Light territory, Snohomish County PUD, Tacoma Power, etc. But those utilities, you can check with them on a rebate. And then tan areas, that's easy. You have both fuels provided by PSC, and any equipment Energy Star that you purchase that's on our qualified products list is eligible for a rebate. So just a note on City of Seattle, Mike, if you would transition, thank you. Just a note for those that live in City of Seattle, if you are not within the boundaries of that city, you can close your ears for a moment. This is a special part of our service territory. In Seattle, City of Seattle, you use Seattle City Light electricity and Puget Sun Energy for natural gas. This means we cannot give you rebate on electric equipment. We can on gas equipment, but the city energy code in City of Seattle is fairly stringent, which in other words, that's a higher energy code than the rest of the state. So we as a utility have to abide by that higher energy code, and it limits the rebates that we can provide in that area specifically. So there are specific pieces of gas equipment that City of Seattle customers cannot receive rebates for. We highlight those in as many places as possible on our webpage and on that qualified products list with all of the different brands and model numbers. That includes some fryers, all steamers, and all dishwashers. Again, if you forget, you could check that qualified products list. Which leads me into, what qualifies for a rebate. And everyone that covered their ears that wasn't in City of Seattle, you can start listening again. Look for that familiar blue logo, that Energy Star logo. I'm sure you've seen them before. Energy Star means trusted energy savings for food service equipment. It's a government program to highlight that this piece of equipment uses less energy, right? And it's not just for the appliances in your home. It also works for your business. And chances are that your favorite and trusted commercial equipment brands have an Energy Star option that qualifies for the rebate. Hundreds of models across different equipment types that are eligible. And again, we have that qualified products list to highlight each and every one of those for you to make it easy on our webpage. So moving on to the next slide, you can see that there are a ton of different equipment types that have Energy Star rated options. Just listing them alphabetically here. Go ahead and take a screenshot if you want. But this includes fryers, steamers, griddles, holding cabinets, 5 types of ovens, ice machines, and brand new for this year, we've added reach-in refrigeration and freezers. So that's a big deal. We've been trying to add those for a while. We heard from folks that this is an important piece of equipment that they use a lot, and they'd like to get rebates on more energy efficient options. And our program manager, Tiana, made that happen for you. Thanks, Tiana. 3 types of dishwashers and even hood controls are also referred to as demand control kitchen ventilation. So just a note, rebates are available for new Energy Star rated pieces of equipment only. Who can't offer rebates on used pieces of equipment. And we also can't offer rebates for equipment that is on a lease. And just a reminder, we do need to provide PSE, the fuel for that piece of equipment, right? So just double checking that. For any rebates you see in this table where it shows a range, this means that the rebate is going to depend on the specific size or other parameter of the actual unit you are purchasing. These are things like internal cubic feet for refrigerators, number of pans for combi ovens, or water heating fuel for the dishwasher. Benefit: when you visit one of our instant rebate dealers, they'll help you navigate everything I've mentioned. So we really try to promote that option. You'll walk away knowing exactly what rebate you're going to get when you go to one of these instant rebate dealers, pre-qualified dealers. And lastly, you'll notice some fine print at the bottom of the table. Just a reminder about that higher energy code in the city of Seattle. We don't love that as a utility, that we're bound by code, but those are the rules. So we have been working on a way to get rebates for our city of Seattle customers to for fryers, which is one of the most common pieces of equipment out there. And what we've done as of 2023 is we've added a second fryer rebate, a tier 2 is what we're calling it, which is essentially extra energy efficient fryers. So these fryers have rebates. They're available to all PSE natural gas customers, regardless of location. Again, you still have to use PSE natural gas. And if you look at the qualified products list, we've identified which fryers are tier 1 and which are tier 2. Finally, dishwasher rebates are shown across both electric and gas columns. That's because the rebates are based on dishwasher type, temperature, and water heating. So that's what water heating is on site, by the way, not what the booster heater in that dishwasher uses for whether that's electricity or some other fuel. That means the rebate can vary a lot. It is very much based on your fuel type. That might seem like a lot of information, but really, again, we're working to make this as simple as possible. When you visit one of those participating instant rebate dealers that we showed in the poll, they're trained to help you navigate everything I've mentioned here. Let me tell you a little bit about those participating dealers. So where to get this equipment, right? With the same motivation to make it as easy as possible for you. We know you're busy. We partnered with 20 local equipment dealers and distributors on this program. Mentioning it again, instant rebates, right? No waiting, no filling out paperwork, no guessing when you're going to receive your rebate. They know the equipment, so we're good at finding out what's going to save energy. They're good at helping you understand what type of equipment is going to meet your needs in the restaurant to cook your bread or make your French fries or whatever it is that you need to do. So they're the experts on that. So, what does that process look like? You find a dealer on our list or find the closest one to you. You can walk in or call them, tell them you've heard about our instant rebate program and you're looking to get a rebate on a dishwasher, a fryer, a griddle, whatever it is you're looking for. And they'll help you find an Energy Star rated piece of equipment that's right for your business needs. You make your purchase, you walk out with the rebate having been deducted from your invoice, and that's it. So we really encourage you to take this route. That being said, we understand that people, we want to provide flexibility. So some people mentioned they have other retailers they go to for their equipment. You can still do that. That's fine. We don't force you to use these dealers. So if you find a great deal on an eligible piece of equipment, again, that's new and is Energy Star somewhere else, that's fine. If it's eligible, you can fill out an application on our website, and within a period of time, we will mail you a rebate check for that rebate amount. So moving into our resources slide here, again, if you don't remember anything that I've said, that's totally fine. We have a website that explains it all. Very, very clear. It's got all of the information on it. It's pse.com/foodservice. You'll find your qualified products list. You'll find the dealer table, which shows those participating dealers. And you'll find the rebate application in case you buy it from some other area retailer that's not listed on our list. All right. That's what I have to share with you today. Thank you so much. And we are going to have Tiana, our program manager, join us for the question and answer period to answer your questions.
Thank you, Hunter. That was a great presentation, and we hope our crowd learned a lot today. We do have some questions that are coming in, so feel free to ask some more questions in the Q&A icon down below. You can see that on your screen there. And Tiana is going to do some live Q&A.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Tiana Burtis. I am the program manager for this program, and believe it or not, have been running it for 15 whole entire years now as of just this past week. So that's super exciting. So if you've ever talked to anybody about the program, it's probably been me over the years. So we've had a couple of really great questions in the Q&A. So go ahead and open that if you haven't yet. There's a few that I answered by typing, and then there's a few that I'm going to answer right now. One of the questions was, what about equipment that's already been purchased in the last year or so? The program is pretty flexible. As long as it's been purchased in the year of 2022, I can likely offer a rebate for it. The rebate amount will be based on the rebate amount that was available at the time of purchase. So in 23, one of the cool things that we did, we were able to increase all of our rebates by 50%, which is ridiculous and amazing and wonderful. The rebates are bigger than they literally have ever been, and I've been the one doing it for so long, so I know. So if you purchase something last year, it will get last year's rebate, which isn't as awesome as this year's, but it's still pretty awesome because the rebates were kind of big to begin with, honestly. So if you have done that, we do have a rebate application that's available online. If you go to pse.com/foodservice, it's kind of in the middle of the page. There's a big blue button. And if you click on that, it's a rebate application. You just fill in a little bit of your info, and then you send us your invoice, and then we'll let you know if it qualifies. You can also just email the email address that's at the end of this presentation. So that works too. Another question that came in was, what if you have locations in multiple areas? Like what if one uses electric and another one uses gas? The equipment you purchase will go to be installed at a specific location. Whatever fuel type that location receives from PSE is the type of rebate you're eligible for. So if one location has electric but not gas, you won't get a gas rebate at that location. You can only get an electric rebate. But if your other location has both electric and gas, you can get both electric and gas rebates. So it's just literally based on which PSE fuel goes to that exact location, even if you've got 4, or if you've got 2, or if you've got 1, just, keeping in mind where your location is. I see one more question that came in while I've been talking from Barry. Thanks, Barry. Ice machines with remote condensers. Yes, we do have rebates for 4 different types of ice machines. And if you go to psc.com/foodservice, there's a rebate menu link. It's kind of everywhere. I just sort of made it so you can't miss it. You can click on it in like 17 different ways. If you open that up, it has literally every single type of ice machine that we offer a rebate for, and there are many. So I think that's all the time I've got for Q&A because we're running short on time and we don't want to hold you guys over. So if you have more questions, keep putting them in the chat and we can follow up and answer them later.
We just wanted to say thank you again for attending today. We hope you learned a lot, and we hope that you also learned how to lower your bill and how our energy efficient equipment helps you to do that, and also our great rebates. So next slide, we have a quick poll for you. We'd like to know what barriers might still make it hard for you to move forward with getting these rebates. Is it money, time, understanding of the process, a language barrier, the type of equipment that you'd like to purchase isn't listed, or other? See some answers coming in. All right, let's take a look at our answers. Right, so time is the biggest one, and just remember that we do have our instant rebates, so hopefully that will help you save a little bit on your time for our dealers. And that's great, great answer. No barriers. So that's great. Thank you so much for your participation. And our last slide is Tiana's contact information there. And we just want to remind you to check your email in the coming days, because we do have some Amazon gift cards. So just for attending, you've been entered to win those. And we will notify our 3 random winners by email on Friday, February 24th. And there will be a survey after today's event. So please take the post survey that will automatically pop up once this meeting ends, and it will really help us to understand your needs and what we can do to help meet them. So thank you again for attending today. We really appreciate all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and busy day to join us. Hope you have a great day.